Yeah, perfect. I'm not very good at directions sometimes because I'm like, oh, I'll let them leave it. And then I'm like, oh, shit, I should have fucking said something.
I figured it out.
Yeah.
This is my first rodeo, but I've seen enough podcasts to kind of get the gist of it.
Of what we're doing here. So that's the camera. That's the screen so you can see how pretty you look.
Well, you're looking great this morning as well.
I'm wandering around in my slippers and t-shirt. See, that's why I said top down. Nobody has any idea what's going on.
The most important thing is you're wearing the moldavite.
Yes.
That's the most important.
My most important object.
Your trusty sidekick.
Yes, it is.
Would you like some matcha?
Oh, no, thank you. I appreciate that. I told you that this thing came to me in a vision before I got it, yeah?
You may have said that, but...
Yeah, it was like... And it's such a distinct shape.
So before you bought it, you had a vision of it or a dream?
Like an outline of it, like entered into... It wasn't a dream. It was like, you know how when you're in that awake asleep state?
Like lucid dreaming,
yeah.
But you're still awake.
Yeah. So that it came and it was... And such a distinct shape, and it was before I got it, and I was like, whoa.
Where did you get it? Where did you find it?
From a lady in Barcelona on Etsy.
Wow. So you went looking for moldavite online.
Yeah.
You saw the vision, you're like, I need to buy a moldavite.
No, I think at that point I had purchased it. It was just, it hadn't made it to me. So it was like, it was connecting to me before. But yeah, you got to introduce yourself.
In your hands.
It's
Hello,
Yes.
I am Ryan Minter, if you want my full name. And I've known you, for maybe a little over 2 years now, I feel like. I met you at Air One Studio City. You came in looking for some supplements for recovery from your injury.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of the timeline. It might have been a little over 2 years now.
Oh,
Time
wow.
flies.
Jeez.
Well, so I left in August.
Yeah.
So I had been with the company for almost a year. Okay, no, it hasn't been quite 2 years yet, almost 2 years.
Oh, wow, nice. So what will you be offering at the event?
So the Healy device will be the main focus on what I'm going to be offering for the experience that I'm going to be sharing with all the amazing people that will be coming in. And a quick definition of the Healy. I'm not a trained practitioner, mind you. This is just a device that I use, that I have noticed benefits from. And quite frankly, it's a quantum device that works on a very subtle electromagnetic frequency level. It's also known as a bioresonance device. They, on their website, label it as something that has been shown and approved to be used for acute pain, chronic pain and inflammation, and that was actually approved by the FDA. That's the only claim that they're allowed to make. Now, since I'm not a Healy practitioner, I'm just someone that uses it and has used it for others. Some people are more sensitive to it than others, like someone like you that's energetically sensitive. You're going to notice the benefits more than maybe somebody that has a lot going on in their body. When you've been dealing with chronic pain and inflammation, sometimes you're not going to really know exactly what's going on, but they might notice the effect later that night. They might notice it during that moment as well. Everyone's different. Maybe they'll sleep really good later on that day, or while I'm running the frequencies, they might notice they feel more calm, less stressed, more comfortable in their body. Maybe, so it could be more subtle for some and very noticeable for others. Everybody has different unique experiences. But one thing that I will be also offering is some of my crystals that I use. So as I will lay them down, I'll have them on like a massage table, and they will be set up with 7 chakra stones. And if people don't know what a chakra is, it's basically a spinning vortex that connects to different areas of the body. So I have different crystals that will help for more grounding, some for opening up the heart chakra, some for helping to align with the higher energies, connecting to your third eye and your crown. And then I'll have a few different wands that I'll be using, as well as a tuning fork. So yeah, it'll be a nice experience. I would like people to have an open mind and not really have like basically, I would like them to have an open mind and also a set intention. So whatever they're working on, we're always working on something. I mean, if someone can say that they have no health issues, then more power to them, but we're mostly all dealing with something, whether it's stress, whether it's some kind of physical pain, recovery from an injury. So on a mental, physical, and emotional level, this Healy device is something that can help them. And I'm really excited to see how people respond. I've probably ran this device maybe on like 10 people so far since I bought it 3 years ago. And it's something that you can do right next to me in the room, or it's also something that I have done as a distance healing session from across the world. There's 2 different applications. There's one, it's considered a homeopathic app, and then there's another one where you connect with a wire and electrodes on your wrist. So I'll be doing both for people to see, how they will experience different benefits.
Oh, very cool.
I'm just trying to figure out the time frame.
Sorry.
It's all good.
I thought I had it.
I'm trying to figure out what the best time frame will be for each person, because I want enough people to have experiences. It could, for some people, they're of course going to notice much more benefits if they sat down with the Healy device for like 30 minutes, but that's going to be too long. I'm thinking around 15, 20 minutes max.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
I'm not really sure. Maybe you can have some better ideas what a good time frame would be, because as far as the limit of how many people can be in the room, in the whole building at the same time, what is the max?
I think I'm cutting it off at 250 people. So you're definitely not going to get through 250 people.
Definitely. Definitely not.
Yeah. It's taken on a mind of its own. 250 is the cap. But for me, I feel like whoever's meant to get to you is going to get to you. And I feel that, I'm letting everybody who's like, such as yourself, kind of set their own schedule, because it's from 11:30 to 6. So if you need a break, or you want to wander around and you want to participate in the party,
definitely wanted to participate. Yeah.
So like I'll give you guys a schedule, like basically a breakdown of all the hours, and you can fill in your schedule however you want. Like if you need 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you do that, and then people just sign up the day of the event.
Okay.
And so I'll probably have them put down their phone number, so that if they're lost in the event, you'd be like, hey, your thing is now, like, where are you?
That sounds good.
Yeah.
I like that.
So that way.
I forgot to mention I will be offering some energy healing through Reiki as well. So.
Very cool. Yeah, that's special. I love energy healing and things like that. So it's amazing to be able to offer this, because I was thinking about it. There's places where you can like go that are one stop for like health stuff, but like there's no like spiritual stuff. Like if you really think about it, is there a place where you can go where there's like energy healers, different energy healing device? Where?
There is, but very few. So there is a place. I have to be careful how I say this. I will just mention there is a place, and I like some aspects about this place, but I did see some irresponsible things being done with some very powerful frequency devices that's based on Tesla's research. I'll just say there's this thing called a biocharger, and just being in the room with it, it's pretty intimidating. It's really loud. It's like spinning really fast, creating this electric spark reaction, and it's working with different colors. So like part of the healing you're supposed to be getting, I guess, is by looking at it. But it literally made my phone, when I was recording it, it made my phone like go all wacky. It was powerful enough to like not allow my phone to even record.
Wow.
And so I'll just say this, we were teaching a Reiki session, Reiki class to get certified in Reiki 3, and this gentleman was on his break, and he sat down with this device, and he had a Herxheimer reaction the next day.
What's that?
Basically detoxing your body too powerfully without your body having the proper detox channels to properly detox. Like it basically maybe brought out parasites out of the organs, and his body didn't know how to get rid of them.
Uh-oh.
Or or it just sent his body into overload. We did find out he has black mold. He was actually really toxic with black mold. So the biocharger was trying to get rid of it in his body, but he didn't have the proper detox channels in place to get it out. So the black mold got pulled out of certain areas, and then it really got stuck in his chest, and it was hard for him to breathe. So I say all this, when it comes to these types of devices, now let me just back up a little bit. The Healy does not do anything powerful like that. The difference between the Healy and something like a biocharger, it's very subtle. It works with your cells helping to communicate better with each other. So it's not going to like force toxins out of your body in a way where it can put someone in danger like that. So when it comes to like some of these other devices, people have to be really careful. And there's something else called a bioresonance. So the Healy is also a bioresonance device, but there's other types of bioresonance devices where it's more of a diagnostic, where you could actually find out specifically what's going on in your body. And that would be more responsible to do before you put them in a biocharger, because it's basically saying everyone can benefit from this, doesn't matter what you have going on, this is a one-fix-all solution. There's no such thing as that, and it's very irresponsible that people do that. So that's why I don't want to necessarily promote this place. If I didn't see them do something like that, maybe I would promote it, because there's a lot of other good things. They have red light therapy. They have those hyperbaric oxygen chambers.
Love those things.
Yeah. They have those lymphatic vibrating plates that you could stand on.
Yeah.
So some of that stuff is totally safe. But when it comes to this new like Tesla technology, you got to be really careful.
Yeah, Tesla told me not to look at his stuff.
Really?
Yeah. Not to look
When
at
did this happen?
Months ago. Yeah, so I was about to like look at it. He's like, don't look at any of this. And I was like, all right.
Wow.
So yeah, I've avoided looking at a lot of stuff based on that. Like, it's interesting. I'm not sure why, and I don't really want to know. Only I'm gonna respect that there's a definite reason, and a very good one, on why looking at what some of his work is not resonant with me. Yeah.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing that it's great that we brought up Tesla. So the story with Healy, they say, like if you read this online, they talk about it. A monk that was having like a spiritual download. I forget where he was. It might have been in the Himalayas, but he was downloading all this information, and he was shown he needed to bring this technology to the world that was kind of blending spirituality with science, and he didn't know anything about Tesla. So he had all of this crazy, like, amazing download information that he wrote down, and he knew somebody that had the capability of taking his ideas and actually creating a device out of it. And he's like, from what I'm reading here, this is basically Tesla's work that you downloaded. So the theory is like Tesla, like, you know, the essence of Tesla gave him the download to help humanity. And then they did make a business model out of it. But, you know, it's kind of like a multi-level marketing business, but a lot of people just use it for the healing aspect, and they don't do it as a business. So it's people's choice if they want to actually make money off of it, or if they just want to help themselves and their family and friends and things like that. But if someone did decide to buy it, I mean, there is a little bit of a bonus that I get. If someone bought it like before the end of the month, they can get like a, $500 discount. So it's usually, I want to say it's around $1,700 for the really good one. There's different tiers. If you get the really good one, besides the most expensive, the one that I have is like the second best one that you could have. In full price, it's around $1,700, but you can get it for like $900. They give me a little kickback if I promote it. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always nice.
Yeah, it's a little incentive, you know.
Yeah. No, you and I have always had some very interesting conversations because the metaphysical stuff. It's a joy because I can tell you, oh yeah, I've talked to Tesla, and yes, I know he's not alive.
Some people will hear that and they'll just be like, wait a minute, you talked to Tesla? But to me, I don't have that ability. Maybe I will cultivate that. But I always appreciate when people are a clear channel, such as yourself, and you can just tap into the consciousness or the energy of somebody, whether living or non-living.
Yeah, it's. I had two people on this podcast, two friends of mine. They weren't completely on board with my abilities, and so I told them to give me names of two people I didn't know, just their names, and to start reading them. I usually do it without permission. I am so sorry that I did that without permission. My desire to prove myself to these two outweighed it, so I actually made them both tell these two people that what we did, because I felt bad about that.
There's a ethics that comes into play.
Yeah. And so I broke that code, and so
it was a learning opportunity.
Yeah. I definitely was. I sat myself down and was like, that was not cool.
Were they blown away?
Yes. So they even
probably scared them a little bit. They're just like,
they got really
get away, you witch.
Oh no, they actually got really excited. They're like, we need to have you on our podcast. You need to start reading people.
Oh, amazing.
So I blew the doors off the battleship, so to speak.
I like that term. I don't think I've ever heard that. Blow the door off the battleship. So I'm going to have to use that one.
Yeah. So it was cool. They called one of the people on the actual podcast, and then I did a further reading, and the guys gave me a 9 out of 10 and said it was spooky. So I'm like, okay, I'm golden in that respect, because I can do, I call it like parlor tricks. Those are like parlor tricks to me. Like, it's just like, oh, I can, but like,
I mean, there are people that have your ability that perform at the Magic Castle. They call themselves mentalists.
Yeah.
I think some of them, they're not quite as good as you though, because I'll see them cheat. Like, I won't name any names, but they literally get together with the people before the trick even starts, before they go in the room. They have them write something down with a marker, and it's totally setting it up for the trick.
Yeah,
it's just like, come on, are you really a mentalist if you have to do those kind of shenanigans?
Yeah, well, that's not total confidence in one's ability, right?
Yeah.
So, like, when they were like, you're not sure, like, that I could do this, I was like, no, like, let's do it. It's only because I had practiced so much. Before I knew that I had to get permission, my friend Kim would just give me names of people, and I just start rattling off one by one, and then I had another friend who helped me practice, like, physical looks of somebody to, like, give me a name, and I would start physically describing them. I get confused sometimes with people with body dysmorphia, or people that see themselves in another way, to discern what they actually look like by what they think they look. And so that sort of came up with the girl's name they gave me, is that she had body dysmorphia, because I said morbid, and like they later found out that she did have, like, she used to be fat, and so I was like, oh, morbidly, like, she may still have, either that's her history or past, in her mind, that's still something that came up, like, literally first. And so just stuff like that, like learning how to decipher, because that's so subtle, and it has to do with me tuning better into myself and my own body dysmorphia stuff, so that I can catch when it's dysmorphia versus the actual, like, reality of that individual. But I was practicing that for a while. And now I don't practice it as much, because it's hard to get a name of somebody that's not here and get their permission.
Yeah.
I have to be, like, sitting with somebody, and then I have to call them and then get their permission, and then do it that way. But it's cool, because, like, I'm not usually wrong, but I tell people it's about clerical. There's a clerical error between my language and their language and what I'm relaying.
I see.
Yeah.
It makes me think of this one magician named Justin Willman. He was performing at a real haunted place too. It's called the Roosevelt Hotel. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
It's been said that there's, like, an open portal there where beings come in and out, and it's not always the light energy type of beings. It's more of a darker energy. So it's a great place for a magic show because of all the hauntings. But this guy, I wonder if he has the ability that you can do, but he did it in a different way. Instead of connecting with people and information from their minds or memory, he was connecting to the land, perhaps, because it was amazing. Like, I don't know how he could have done it otherwise, unless he just has a really, really good memory. But this is like a really good memory, because he had everyone stand up, that wanted to participate, and he asked what city they were from. And so, like for me, I used to live in Sacramento, so I would have said, if I was one of the participants, I would have been like, Sacramento. And he would know the zip code of every city that there was 20 of them. He knew each zip code around the country. And he claimed that he can just travel around the country and remember every city's zip code that he's been to. But I wonder if he was just connecting to the information of Sacramento and he just knew the zip code.
Yeah, potentially. It's potential, like, you know, because what I do, I know that others can do it because I've done it with other people, and I like, it's about getting out of your own way that it's not possible. And so, like, I've sat down with certain people, and even my friend Clark, I was like, you can do this, and like, and he's like,
so you taught him how to do it?
Yeah. I can teach. I feel that I could teach anyone how to do it because we already kind of do it. It's just a matter of like getting out of your way and looking deeper. So he was staring. He's like, all I'm looking at is this painting of these two fish. Well, and at the time I didn't realize what it was, but my friend Brandy was so into fish, and that's the name that I gave him, was of my friend. And so I was like, oh. And then so he named it. He's like, and I feel anxious, and I'm like this, and he nailed it. And so I was just like, yeah, you're doing it. It's just like some people it's language, some people it's feeling, it's sensation, or it's what you're looking at. Like it's a matter of understanding your language, like spirit language or energy language or whatever that is between the two connection.
Did I ever tell you about the lady that I worked with named Caroline Nettle that's out of London, and she has this type of healing that she was trained to do called body talk, and it's basically kind of like what you just explained, but it's very exact, where she could enter your body, of course with your permission, and she can feel whatever you're feeling. Like for sure, like she was really good at what she did, because I was having major neck and back issues, and everywhere I had neck and back pain, she was really feeling it in her body. But then the really cool thing is she could actually connect to your past life by entering your body. She could connect to your organs, and she would have specific messages that my liver or my kidney had for me. But then she could also tap into like maybe an early childhood trauma that's holding you back. It's called body talk.
Yeah, it's interesting. I can tune into people's bodies and sort of tell what's like going on. Like if there's emotions or this or that. Like I can tune into dysregulation in the body and kind of go from there. So yeah, it's definitely similar to what I do, and definitely there's definitely some validity to it. I never ask how the sausage is made on that stuff though. I don't want to know
how the sausage is made. You and your analogies.
I like colorful speech.
I don't think I would want to see how sausage is made, all the different weird parts of the animal. No.
Blood sausage. Watching blood sausage be made. Ooh, no.
You don't like a good bratwurst, though?
I do.
Have you heard of that place? It's a funny name. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's a German name. It's like Wurstküche.
No.
Worstkuche. It's on Lincoln Boulevard in Venice, and it's like an authentic German like hot dog place. But they don't use like nasty meat hot dogs. It's like German sausages. And but they use interesting meats. Like one had snake and rabbit meat in the sausage.
That's an interesting
like really exotic. That's the one that I did. I did snake and rabbit.
How was that?
It was delicious.
Oh wow.
And then you can get it with sauerkraut.
Yeah.
It's very authentic, like German experience.
Wow.
And then they have you don't drink too much, right? Yeah,
really,
but they have German brew there too.
Oh wow, that sounds actually really like good. I haven't actually had meat though now for almost 5.5 months.
Really? So you're still going strong with that?
Yeah.
Do you notice you're more clear to have these abilities? Some people say that they are without the meat because it's not as dense and you're not connecting to the karmic repercussions of the animal and things like that.
It's still the same. There is, I see subtle clarity, but I also was not as clear prior to going without meat for so long that like I don't know if I went to meat now would I still have that same, but because I'm in a healthier place, right? So like once I end this cycle of no meat, I'll have a better understanding when I go to meat if it does bounce down or remain the same or maybe heightened. because I do really well with meat.
So would you say energetically you don't feel less drained? Or do you have more energy, or is it about the same?
Well, I have more energy, but I started doing dry fasting. So that upped my shit to another level. And so I can't really say if it was like, I have to experiment after.
I'm glad you mentioned that. So I was trained by the Dr. Mercola, national trainer, last night. One of the benefits of working in a supplement department is they give you trainings and you get free product and they buy you dinner. But he's super smart, brilliant guy. Like, you would love to listen to what he has to say. But I actually asked him his take on dry fasting. He's a fan of the water fasting, but he doesn't understand the benefits of the dry fasting. He thinks that it could be dangerous. But for someone like him, how would you explain how the dry fasting detox protocol works, where it would have put someone in danger from dehydration?
Well,
because his argument was like, we need air. Second most important thing that we need to intake is water.
Well, when you do a water fast, your body's actually more readily going to go to the muscle to get its nutrients, where when you don't have water, it's going to go quicker to the fat because it needs water. So it's going to start making endogenous water in the body, and endogenous water is actually better for the body than exogenous water.
That's what it was. I remember you mentioning that before.
I
wish I had that to tell him to see what his reaction would be then.
Yeah, I got to send you this. There's this actually by this doctor who did a whole quick little breakdown of dry fasting and how it's far more potent than water fasting. In the shorter aspect. And I've seen a huge I used to do a bunch of water fasting and didn't quite see the same physiological changes that I have now seen with the dry fasting in myself. So like, I won't ever do water fasts again.
Because the benefits just far outweigh.
Yeah. For a shorter amount of time, the dry fasting is far more beneficial than water fasting.
Like you would say 3 days of dry fasting would beat even
like
2 weeks or 6 weeks?
I think somebody claims it's like 6 days.
6 days.
It's like double.
Okay.
And so I don't know that, but I definitely feel the more bang for my buck. It's just, we're told that we need water all the time.
Yeah.
But is that necessarily true? Like, when you look at animals, is there really like water sources all the time readily available? Not really. There might be a little bit here, a little bit there.
The interesting thing is they were, I don't know which podcast it was, but they were talking about what animals do when they're recovering from an injury. They won't even drink water.
Yeah.
And they won't eat.
Yeah.
And that's their way, like nature tells them that's how they're supposed to do it.
Yeah. And so, like, to me, nature literally told me to do a dry fast because that's like intuitively what I was told. So like, that's nature. That's my natural like being. That's like, hey, stop drinking so much water.
Now, you wouldn't be running the way that you do while you're doing a dry fast, though, would you?
Well, I did my last one. I did 3 days, and I actually took care of all the horses.
But you weren't doing your jogging.
No, I don't really run too much anymore. But I did do 2 rounds up and down this hill, which is about 3-point-something
on
miles.
The dry fast.
Yeah. But I did it at the very beginning of the dry fast to make the rest of it that much more difficult.
And at any point were you craving water? Like,
oh, of course, you want water. The first time I did it was hideous because I walked into Erewhon. I'm like, why am I torturing myself? I could feel the water pulling me to it. Yeah, and so it's just like, oh, okay, this is like I like to make things more difficult, and so I did that. The first time I did it, the 5-day dry fast that I did, I decided to not do anything, which is the hardest thing you can do on a fast, is to do absolutely nothing, because then all you're thinking about is eating and drinking.
You want to keep busy.
Yeah. So when I did the 3-day with the horses involved and some walking, it was far better in that respect, where like I had mental activity to complete my mind and sort of direct it to certain things, so it made it a little bit easier.
I mean, if someone can do nothing while dry fasting, they would be like on a Buddha status level.
Well, that's what I did, so thank you.
Well, I'm honored to be in the presence of a Buddha.
Except I had some tantrums, so like I'm not quite there yet. My emotions definitely were trying to get the better of me during that 5 days. But yeah, now that I've had practice, though, my body's gotten used to going without water and then having water, so it's not as uncomfortable to be in that like depleted sort of way of water. But then I always remind myself, if you have fat, you have water, just like the camel with its hump. Like people are all okay with the camel being in the desert with its hump that's actually fat, that if you still have fat on your body, you actually technically still have water. And so dehydration, I think, is more of a stress response. And like, you know, there's probably a few different things going on there. But if you're not stressed and you're just doing your daily life and you haven't had water for a few days, like for me, I was fine, you know, and it's because the fat molecule is water. So the body is intelligent, and it's not gonna die because you haven't drank any water. It's going to go into the fat stores and
Is the water in the brown fat?
It's in fat. It's in the fat molecule.
Fat molecule.
Yeah, it's so like, if you remember how you mentioned how toned I was, I've learned how to cycle my water differently. So I'm not drinking throughout the day. I'll drink a bunch here or a bunch there, or sometimes I will drink throughout the day.
So you won't start your day drinking water?
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
Just go with what your body tells you?
Yeah, and I'm actually the most clear that I've ever been. And so, like, there's something to it. Like, for me personally, none of what I say is for anyone else. It's all my story and what I do.
One way for one person isn't necessarily the way for another. Everybody is a unique fingerprint.
Yeah. And so for me, that's what I've been guided to, and it's helped change. Like I see more muscle tone. I see just like clearer, and it's interesting. I notice my body flushes out stuff. So when I do drink water, I get a huge flush of everything. Where before I'm always drinking water, my body doesn't really flush. But when I go without water and then I come back to water, I get a nice flush of everything out. So it's like a nice wave of toxins just.
So if you're doing a dry fast and you're going back into drinking water and eating, I wonder, like the first day when you get off the dry fast, if it's good to just drink water and then the next day start implementing food.
That's what I did after the 5 days of dry fasting. I did 1 day of water fasting.
That's what I was sensing.
Yeah, just because I wanted to gently coming back into it.
Because it could be a lot.
Yeah,
it's like your body's in shock.
Yeah, and so it was the first time I had done anything. So I didn't go overboard with the water. Like I made sure to drink really slowly.
Maybe like how many 8-ounce glasses in a day? 4?
I think just maybe 2 or 3.
Just 2 or 3.
Yeah, it was really gentle. And, you know, now that I'm a little more seasoned, like after the 3-day fast, I just had some water and then I ate some food.
Were you testing your body to see what your electrolyte levels were?
No, I want to do blood tests so that I can see. I have a feeling that...
That'd probably be the most safe way to do it.
Yeah. I've made sure to incorporate foods that are high in mineral and potassium. That's number one with all that stuff. Is the potassium and the minerals and the salts. But yeah, it's really fascinating. I used to get a lot of pulled muscles and stuff in my leg, and I don't anymore. And so I think depleting myself in a way kind of helped balance it out. So once I came back, the homeostasis came, where before I was kind of in like this weird place where my body couldn't completely deplete itself, or so it couldn't completely fill itself. It was just kind of like in this idle, weird, like limbo place. It's like your battery on your Apple iPhone. I heard you have to deplete it completely every once in a while so that it maintains a nice charge.
That's a good analogy.
Life. Yeah.
I was thinking when you were talking about the hump on the camel, I saw this really funny meme. You know when you see the little flap on cats, like it's like this little layer of...
The pooch?
Yeah, the little pooch. That was the word I was thinking of. So it said that they figured out the mystery of why that pooch is there. They said it's actually the cat's concealed carry weapon where they carry their Glock. It had like a little image of them with like a Glock in their little pooch.
Cats would carry a Glock. Yeah, no.
The things people think of.
It's fascinating. I'm always blown away at the imagination of others. It always never ceases to amaze.
Where do we go from a cat carrying a Glock? I don't know.
Well, you wanna see if I can take you through reading somebody?
Okay.
Let me get their permission. Let me pick somebody who responds quickly. So
I'll try to clear my mind.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this painting of Jesus right there.
Oh, that's
really
I
cool.
love that. That's one of my dad's. That's one of my
It's
favorites
really
of my
cool.
dad's.
Wow.
Let's see. Okay, they didn't respond. Let's do another one. Who responds quick? Where did they go? I don't want him. Oh, there he is. Well, maybe once they get, we can keep talking, and then
Okay.
once they get back to me.
So let me ask you, when did you first get the idea to do all of this, working with your dad's art?
Well, I'd say about 5 years ago, my dad
Okay.
asked me to help him out with his art.
So it started with him just asking you.
Yeah. And when he asked me, I was like, it's 7 Studio Gallery Warehouse is full of 40 plus years of artwork by one man who hasn't stopped making art a single day.
He's making it right now as we speak?
Yes, yeah. And so, like, it wasn't like at just a gallery show that my dad was basically asking me. He's like, he asked one person to help him start Disney World.
Yeah. I mean, it's a huge mission to
be
presented with.
And so it's kind of taken on a life of its own. And then I had my accident, but my accident led me to
How many years ago was that now?
2 years and 4 months.
It's crazy to think where you are now after that. Like, I wouldn't be able to, I mean, without the scar, how active you are. Wow.
Yeah. Most people, they look at me like, you ride horses?
Yeah.
What? There's rods?
Didn't they say that you would never walk again?
My legs weren't working, but they never said never be able to walk.
Okay.
It's just, I was very close to not being able to walk ever again because the doctor in Costa Rica was like, this is your spine and this is your spinal cord. He goes, I don't know how your legs are moving. And so,
Miracle.
Yeah, and so, but like I have numbness on particular spots of this leg, which tell me that I was millimeters, like less than millimeters of basically no leg feeling.
I think you had some guides protecting you.
Yeah,
on some level.
I definitely had something watching out for me because
Definitely.
I skated along a very fine line of like my life being very, 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 very difficult.
Yeah.
And I'm extraordinarily grateful. Like I had a bruise on my chin after the fall, and so how close I was to this being,
Any skull being cracked, I mean,
and so
thank God.
I got I wouldn't say luck, because to me it's not necessarily luck. It's more that was my life trajectory, and I got very, very close. And I pushed a limit very, very hard. And, that, like, I don't, like, I love that part about me, but, like, I'm trying to take the foot off the gas with that type of behavior, because I get really, really, really close. Like, I said something to somebody, and all my actions said basically what I was doing, but I told them, that they could enlighten the person to the fun things that we had done together. And so they said that I told that person, and I was like, no. I said, you can, but all my actions basically told that person what transpired between me and the person she was with. So, like, I walked a very fine line between my actions saying something, but my words gave the person the opportunity to tell the actual truth. So, like, if you ask me all the things I do, like my leg paralyzed, like my words, I get really too close to, I think, crossing a line that's like a non-refundable line, right? Like, you can't take back things you say, and you can't, like, right now, like some of my injuries, there's a non-refundable, like in their current state that we're in. Like, maybe in the future, some of these things will be refundable, but currently, with our medical and health and the way it is, like, they're non-refundable in that sense currently.
Yeah.
So
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so like understanding that, like, for me is super, super important from this lesson that I've been learning with myself. Like, why do I want to get so close to that line? And it's pushing limits. Like,
So are you saying that, like, you just, in wanting to be authentic and sharing truth, are you saying sometimes it's just too much truth for people to handle? And so you have to treat each situation differently, like knowing how much of that truth you can share with that person?
Yeah, I think, no, well, yes and no. But more it's like looking at limits, like we want to expand and evolve and grow, but to what extent and at what cost, right? Like I wanted to go all the way, but to what extent and what cost does that do to me, right? And so it's like finding that balance of like pushing the limit, but also knowing when to not push and being okay and comfortable with just leaving something as it is. And so that's more, if you ask me, like understanding that part of me that wants to expand and grow and to say everything and do everything and but then knowing like sometimes that there's enough, like that branch is too big, and if that branch keeps growing that big, you might take the whole tree down, right? So it's like learning to grow your branch really far, but understanding the capacity that your trunk has to hold that weight. And so if that's kind of intuitively what I feel that I'm learning to do, is to not be that tree that gets too top heavy and ends up falling over.
Well, the way I look at it is the people that we choose to have in our lives, if they're here to support us, maybe we don't, I don't know if I want to use the term so much as walking on eggshells, but when you're talking about that, I think of that term in that way, because it's like we have people that we look at in our lives and we say, okay, I really love this person, I want them in my life, I don't want to hurt their feelings. But then there might be other people that are like acquaintances and maybe they're not as important, and if we feel like we can't be our authentic selves around them and walk on eggshells, maybe that's a situation where we have to reassess that relationship and maybe step away a little bit, because we don't want to hold ourselves back from growing and evolving. And if that means, like, I could think of a few people that I would put in that category, and those are the people that I have boundaries with now, because I feel like, you know, my version of me, they just don't understand. We're speaking two different languages, and I don't want to spend too much extra effort trying to get them to understand me, because I know that where they're at on their level of experience, they're not going to fully get me.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
It does make sense. For me, it's more an internal thing. It's actually not about the other person. It's more, if I like telling you, I told you a story, but I didn't give you their name. It's not that I don't think you can handle it. It's I'm choosing to draw a line between showing you who that person is and keeping that to myself and that experience private.
Whether I know them or not.
Yeah, so it's...
Because that wasn't important.
Yeah, so it's, for me, like, because I think about people with different views, and I think I've come to the point where I accept that everybody has their own opinion and different, like, views of the world, and that mine are just as valid and theirs are just as valid, because ultimately, at the end of the day, I don't actually know what I know. So mine is as questionable as theirs. And so if I don't agree with them, I also inherently, mine is up for question as well. So, like, I think that's how I've gotten along with a lot of people, is because, like, your perspective is just as valid as my perspective, even if it doesn't look the same, because at the end of the day, I know mine, I don't know mine, and I know that yours is yours, and you have yours for whatever reason, and I respect that. And
we all have a piece of the puzzle. It's important to have that perspective. It's a red flag. I don't know, some people, they might honestly think that they're comfortable where they're at. I couldn't imagine being in that place. I'm always wanting to expand and grow, and looking back at a year previously of a year, like year ago version of myself, to say, well, am I thinking or acting differently in any way? If not, then I don't want to stay stagnant. I want to still be evolving every year. But some people, they don't like change, it seems. Some people are comfortable where they're at. And I think that's where, not to pick on anyone's particular beliefs, but I think that's where fundamental religion has its problems, to think that all of the answers are in this book and you don't have to worry about anything else. That's a dangerous position to be in, because that just basically means that something that was written down is going to be a good enough answer for you. Like, I'm always curious about how things are, and I love learning and adapting and growing. Otherwise, I feel like something is missing in my life.
Yeah, I feel that it's like, you know how different seeds are planted in soil and some grow and then some don't,
Yeah.
right? But then later on, sometimes the ones that didn't grow actually end up growing at a later date. That's the way I like to see people, is like, for whatever reason, their seed hasn't germinated because they're doing whatever it is they need to do as the seed in the soil for the right time and moment for
maybe
them.
that's safe for them. I get the intuition that a lot of the time where people are coming from is they're just so busy living life and the struggles it entails, keeping their head above water with bills, with, whatever they have going on. Maybe they have a family. Life can be tough. And if that, to them, change and growing is unknown, that they can't control, and people like to have control.
I love control. But yeah, let's go. Both my friends okayed you jumping into them. So do you want me to give you a name, or do you want to try to do the one that I did where I can start rattling stuff off without a name? I can do both, but a name gives you the energetic sometimes.
I'm wondering what would be better for me since I'm new to this.
You want to start out with a name?
Let's start out with a name.
Okay, I got two people that said yes, so we have two shots. The first one is Maseo.
So Maseo, I'm supposed to figure out.
Just start. So I give you the name, and think of the name, and think of the person, and start seeing what comes up. If you feel something, see something, smell something, looking at something, it can come in any kind of way.
First, I have to figure out their gender, right?
If you want to start describing him physically, if physical stuff comes up.
I sense it was a he.
Yeah.
Shorter hair.
Yes.
Not long hair.
Can you discern a color?
It's more of a straight hair, not curly.
Yep.
Darker.
Yep.
Brunette, perhaps.
Yep.
Hazel eyes, perhaps.
Oh, I think so. Okay, let's go on his.
I want to say young 30s, if I'm guessing age.
He comes
late
off
20s, early 30s.
He comes off older than he is, so that could be what you're picking up on.
So maybe closer to 24 or 25.
23, you almost said it.
I said 23
yeah,
almost.
Yeah, I saw it.
I second guessed myself.
Yeah. You see that's it though.
Yeah, I second guessed myself.
Yeah.
Athletic.
Yes.
He's in good shape. Goes to the gym a good amount of time. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Trying to think what he does for a living. I'm kind of drawing a blank now. I was trying to figure out what he does. He's interested in health, but I don't know if that's involved with what he does for a living monetarily. Yes. Okay, it is.
Yeah.
Is he a fitness trainer?
Kind of, but not.
Wellness coach.
He could be, but
now I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
Where is he from? Maseo?
Yeah.
Trying to figure out, was he born in this country? He was born in another country? No, damn it.
Yeah.
I did okay.
No, you did fantastic. The name can be misleading, sometimes because stereotypical stuff comes up with names. That's why sometimes
So he is a U.S. citizen.
Yes.
But what is his nationality? I'm trying to figure that out.
I believe his Mexican?
Mexican. Okay, that is a Mexican name. I wasn't sure.
Yeah. I that's why I left out his last name.
I knew a guy named Mateo, which sounds really similar to Maceo, and he was also Hispanic or Mexican.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that was interesting.
That was really great.
Okay.
Yeah, for you.
For my first time.
I asked him what color his eyes are. He hasn't gotten back to me yet.
Okay. If he's hazel, that would be cool.
Yeah. It's because I just looked at his eyes the other day, and they're.
You don't remember seeing a touch of green with brown?
I felt that they were kind of like a light red brown, but potentially could be a hazel, like a more hazel brown color. But that's why I was just like, I don't know. But it was hazel's close because it's on the verge. But yeah, no, that was really good. You want another one?
Okay, let's try one more.
Do you want the name with this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think name is still gonna
Full
help.
name?
Okay.
Clark Matson Montgomery.
Not the Clark that I met, though.
Oh shit! I forgot.
I was like, wait a minute.
That's why I wasn't supposed to give you his name. Shit, I wasn't supposed to give you his name. That was my fault. I knew I wasn't supposed to give you his name.
No, we have to ask somebody else's permission.
Yeah. Let's see. Who would be cool with this? I don't know. Anyone? Okay. Oh, this is not working.
We have dead air now on a podcast. Dead air is the last thing you want on a podcast. I was thinking of a really funny. Have you ever heard of Heil Hauser?
No.
He was like.
Oh, I know the name.
He was like loved by everyone due to he just had a big heart.
Yeah.
But he wasn't particularly gifted at doing interviews, but his thing was he would explore California and he would just interview everyday people and things that you would have never thought even existed in California. He would go to all these different weird cities, but he did like all the big no-nos you're not supposed to do on TV, but it was on public access television, so they just let him do whatever he wanted. But like he would like film rocks, and you'd be like, "Wow, look at all these rocks!" He would be excited about rocks. And his big thing is, "That's amazing." But he would like just interview people and ask like the most obvious questions. Like these people are like, I don't know, it was like at a Knott's Berry farm or something, and they were rolling around on a little roller coaster, and it was obvious this guy was there with his family. He was like, "Is this your family? Is that your children?" It's just like the obvious questions. But I was thinking of Heil Hauser because there was one time where he was interviewing someone, but it was a phone conversation, and they didn't have both ends of the conversation. All you hear is him talking to this other person, and so there was like dead air for like 20 seconds because the other person was talking, but you can't hear what's being said.
Yeah.
And it's just like, normally that would never be allowed on normal television, but they allowed this guy because it was on PBS.
Huh. Yeah, I want to be like Heil Hauser. That would be
He had a
good.
big heart, though. Like, his thing is he would just interview everybody, and he would treat everybody the same, whether they were a celebrity or not,
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're actually coming up on some time
No
here.
worries.
So any last things that you would like to share?
Well, I'm honored to be a part of this amazing event. And as far as people that I'm allowed to bring, is there like a certain amount that I can cut off at, like maybe 10?
How many are people you want to invite?
I'm thinking around 10 that I will be inviting, whether or not they show up. I don't know.
Yeah. So just throw your darts at a board and see what sticks.
It'll be great to see how everything turns out. I'm really excited to meet Max, the ancient skull.
Yeah.
And then there was another person you said that was going to be doing right next to me. Did you say they were a tarot reader? What was it? I forget.
Well, there's a couple people. There's Max, and then there's my friend Devin, who does energy, like work with crystals.
Oh, he works with crystals.
Yeah. He used to play for the NFL. And
That's what you said.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Well, that'll be great.
Yeah.
I can't wait to experience everything.
Yeah,
I'm honored.
Thank you. I am honored as well. I'm really excited to see how it goes, and to continue to do it multiple times.
Are you going to have it filmed?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be filmed. We're going to have content. That way it can kind of be like the bounce off for future events, so people then can see the event and go, "Oh, I want to go." Where right now it's more like, but this is a mystery. And so, like, I still want them to be mysterious. Like, I want each one to be different. Like, I don't want it to be exactly the same. But I also, like, it's also nice to give people a little bit of an idea of what we're doing. Because sometimes too much mystery is just too much.
Can I get a copy of this interview?
Of course. Yeah, I have to upload it, and it'll probably take a couple hours.
Oh yeah, no rush.
Yeah. So yeah.
Amazing.
All
Well,
right.
thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Pleasure as well.
Woo. Done.
Done and done.